Hello, everyone. I'm not supposed to be speaking during this time, and it's always best that I'm not speaking, but I did want to mention a few things before I have to step away for a few minutes to pick up some, address some family issues. And I want to talk about this one feature associated with editing that we haven't really publicized much recently since it came online. And the key point, as you probably have recognized over the last few days, if you didn't understand it or know it before, was that it's important in order to make pages up that are not just functioning for your use in the class, but also to handle accessibility purposes. So there are both legal and ethical implications involved in creating content online and ensuring that they are freely available for students with a wide range of disabilities in order to tap into. And we go through effort in order to be able to address that. But because we have content coming from a variety of different sources, it takes a bit of effort in order to go through that. I have a development team in order to be able to handle that for existing pages, and they're doing a good job in order to cut through pages off of it. But I want to show one specific technology that's meant in order to facilitate constructing of pages up in order to test real time their accessibility capabilities. So I'm going to just grab an OpenStax book in chemistry just because I want to. And OpenStax has done generally a decent job for accessibility, although not a perfect job. So here's an OpenStax page, any page off of here. And Tom went over a lot of the stuff right about here. Okay, and the stuff over here is the more advanced stuff. So it includes being able to embed this executable code that I hinted at before. Bob may be going over it later on in order to make Python and R and Octave pages in or operating code inside your page. This gives you the ability to insert an adapt question. If you just type the question in here, it will embed the adapt question into the page. You just need to know the question for it. Query will be discussed later on, but what I care about is this little black icon right here with the white man. I think it's a man, white person that is in there, and that's the accessibility checker. And when you're editing at any one time, you can click your accessibility checker and up pops these things. Hold on one second. I put something in the oven. I'm afraid it's going to blow up.
Yeah, it's a really nice feature.
Okay, so in order to handle accessibility properly, we actually need to evaluate 81 criteria on a page. And typically that's done by hiring an external consultant that knows accessibility up and down, left and right, because many of us, most of us, if not all of us, are not so comfortable with the accessibility criteria, applications, and all things like that. There's an entry on the Commons and Conductor for your project that goes into the details behind that, which is encouraged for people in order to take a look at. But this right here is meant to do it real time. So you can come in and you can evaluate headings and alt text, tables, links, color contrast, and labels on your site. And again, I don't have time in order to talk about these things because this is, in order to talk about them, requires days, not minutes. But anyways, I'm going to do all, and I'm going to run it. So it goes through the page and it evaluates the page for some of those issues. For example, this is a common issue that OpenStax has, and Lumen also, with their OER, their images, in that the alt text, the alternative text for the images, has to be shorter than, it has to be 150 characters or less. So if it gets too big, screen readers don't recognize it. In fact, I think 150 or 180 characters is the minimum for, or the maximum for JAWS in order to be able to interpret it. So you have more stuff in there, students can't read it. So we have a limitation to make these things 150 characters. That's the default that we have on our system. So in that case there, this one here has to be changed. And this says this image here is non-decorative, and here's the alternative text, which is really long, copied directly from OpenStax, and we need to be able to do that. We can do a quick fix on it, but there is no quick fix that's possible because it requires a human in order to take 1291 characters and make it to 150 characters. Now, it's fair enough in order to say, well, where do you put those other characters? That's a topic for a different issue. So I can skip to the next one. That one also has the same issue. That one has the same issue. That one has the same issue. Now we're going into a different issue, which has to do with accessibility. Headings. So the way that we have structured these things is, and if you're not familiar with headings, you can just get the general gist off of here. But the key point is that anytime you have a label that's meant in order to represent a section or of some sorts, you don't just make a bold text off of it. You need to put a heading on here, which is available under this normal button right here. All boxes are meant to have legends that have headings that are called H5. Anywhere that they are on our site. So whenever you embed a box, a container that was under these things right here, it comes up automatically with this infrastructure that is used in place. And then the solution is what's called an H6. So it's a hierarchical stuff. Again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. So the key point is that what I did here is I used a solution that's bolded as a heading in order to signify that this is a section separate from here. Screen readers don't know how to recognize that as a heading because it doesn't have a heading off of it. So I want to be able to, it says that this should be an H6, which is suggested. So I press a button and it automatically fixes it. And it's going to just basically go through each one of these things. Where's the next one? Right down there, and provides the fix that's connected to it. This right here is skip over that for now. You can click through here. I'm going to fix that. This has an alt text, which requires manual change. This is alt text issue. This is now using that bold thing. Now I have a bot that goes through and fixes these issues, but this is a way in order to do it real time while you're editing. And then you can save it. And now you have a more accessible page than what you did before. And this is really powerful in order to be able to handle this exceedingly important component in terms of building these pages to be as universally designed as possible. And if you have an interest in order to go over in more detail or talk about accessibility, we can go about doing that. But I have the ability, since I have a quick moment, and I think I'm already exceeding it, that I can go through and run these bots in order to be able to fix certain things. Like this case here, I'm going to run a bot in order to do the container cleanup, which is, this is separate from real time. This is afterwards, that then goes through and fixes these things for accessibility purposes in the same way that I did before. Again, this is stuff that I can do after the fact, not before, not necessarily while I'm doing it. After it's been created and embedded and comes from different sources to handle these things. This is a really cool feature. I mean, I don't know any other OER platform that has something like that. And this is the bot going through pages, doing stuff, doing container cleanup, and that's there. So it becomes then more compliant.
Can I just ask if when LibreTexts brings something over from Canvas Commons or somebody requests it, does that information, do those accessibility fixes in Canvas translate to?
Yeah, because all those fixes are done at the HTML level. So when we bring it over, they come in. But we then run our bots anyways over it in order to be able to handle that. So when people ask about publishing and why don't they just move things over, it's simple, easy. These are the things that we go through pages in order to make sure that to make it so that when authors feel that the book is done, we want to be able to do as much accessibility checks as possible that computers can do. They can't do everything, but they can do a lot. And we've been spending years building the infrastructure in order to make it so it's as automated as possible for everybody and such. So anyways, now I've stepped on Bob and Paul's feet a little bit, so I will step away. I just wanted to make sure that I emphasize that you have this additional technology that's right there that you can press, and I encourage you to press it on your books in order to see what your thoughts are on it. It's still we're still updating it. There are lots of things that we can add in order to make it more powerful. But if you find any issues that come up with it, then let us know and we can update quickly. The team is very happy and very proud of what they've done. So with that, thank you.